You think you know who you are, but what if that very thought is the thing that holds you prisoner? Pause for a second. Look at yourself, not in the mirror, not on social media, not in the endless mental story that loops inside your mind. Strip it all away. The name, the age, the history, the wins and losses. Who's left? Here's the truth. For most people, nothing. Because their entire life has been built on one fragile structure, the identity they've been told to wear. Most people wake up every day and unconsciously step into the same role. I am this person. I act this way. I believe these things. I fear these outcomes. I chase these desires. And without realizing it, this role becomes a cage, a well-furnished, familiar, comfortable prison. But a prison nonetheless. And here's where it gets quantum. The more you observe yourself as this fixed identity, the more reality responds, not to your potential, but to your past. This is the observer effect in action. Quantum physics teaches us that the very act of observation influences the observed. But most people are observing themselves through the narrowest lens possible, their limitations, their history, their trauma, their old beliefs, and so the quantum field responds, mirroring back exactly what they expect, not what they want, what they expect. It's why so many people say, I'm trying to change, but life stays the same. I'm visualizing abundance, but scarcity keeps showing up. I want love, but I keep attracting pain. Why? Because deep down at the level of identity, they are still observing themselves as the old self. And the field does not lie. It does not play favorites. It does not respond to words. It responds to coherence, and coherence begins with identity. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning with no memory of your past, no story about your failures, no pride in your old successes, no grudges, no fear of repeating old mistakes. Who would you be? The answer, pure potential. Because in that moment, with no identity, you are not trapped by the observer effect. You are free to collapse into any version of reality. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Most people will fight to protect their old identity, even if it's killing them. Because it's familiar, it's safe, it gives them a known place in the universe. The mind whispers, at least here, I know who I am. But that safety comes at a terrible price. The inability to shift. Because as long as you keep observing yourself as the old me, the field has no choice but to give you more of the same. And here's the paradox. You don't shift by trying to be better. You don't shift by fixing yourself. You shift by letting go of who you think you are, completely, by stepping into the unknown, by surrendering the outdated story, by observing yourself not as a fixed thing, but as pure possibility. This is where quantum manifestation really begins. Not with affirmations, not with vision boards, not with rituals, but with the death of the old identity, the quiet, courageous release of I am this, and the opening to I can be anything. In this video, we are going to explore exactly how that shift happens, the neuroscience of identity, the quantum mechanics of observation, the role of the subconscious in holding you back, and the exact steps to release the old self and allow reality to shift. You don't need years of therapy. You don't need to rewrite your life story. You simply need to understand one thing. The you who is trying to shift cannot make the shift because the very attempt is rooted in the old identity. What you need is to become the observer without attachment, to watch the self dissolve, to watch the field respond, to stop trying and start allowing. Because here is the secret. When you stop observing yourself as the old you, reality shifts instantly. In the next section, we'll go deeper, how your identity forms and why it holds such power over your quantum field. But first, a question for you. If your life keeps reflecting the same patterns, who exactly are you observing yourself to be? Where does your identity come from? Is it something you chose or something you were given? Most people never ask this question. They assume their self is natural, inevitable, true. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your identity is a script, A patchwork of old beliefs, childhood memories, social conditioning, and unconscious fears stitched together into a me that you now wear every single day. Think back. When you were a child, pure, unformed, you didn't think, I am this kind of person. You didn't worry. Will people like me? Am I enough? Do I fit in? You simply were. A presence, an experience, a flow. And then, layer by layer, the world began to tell you, this is who you are. Your parents told you. Your teachers told you. Your culture told you. Your religion told you. Every experience, every approval, every rejection became a line of code, a belief, a definition, a limit. And over time, you forgot. You are not the code. You are the one who observes it. But when you forget that truth, when you mistake the code for the self, you become trapped in the most powerful loop there is. Identity, observation, reality, reinforced identity. It looks like this. You believe you are bad with money, so you act from that belief. You observe failure. Reality reflects it. The belief deepens. Or you believe I'm unworthy of love. You act guarded. You observe rejection. Reality confirms it. The belief hardens. And this is not philosophy. It's physics. In quantum terms, the observer collapses the wave function into a particle, into reality. And what is the observer? Your identity, your self-definition, the lens through which you see. Change the lens, change the collapse, change the collapse, change the reality. But here's the trap. You cannot change the lens by trying to be better, because the one who is trying is still the old identity. This is why most personal development fails, because it tries to improve the self instead of questioning the self. It says, you can become a better version of you. But what if the you are trying to improve was never real to begin with? Neuroscience confirms this. The human brain is not a fixed machine. It is plastic. It rewires itself based on observation and belief. And yet, by the age of 35, most people have hardwired 95% of their identity into unconscious patterns. They are no longer living. They are repeating a predictable script, a simulation, and the quantum field. It reflects exactly what is wired into the nervous system, not your wishes, not your vision board, not your goals, but your core self-observation, which means if you want reality to shift, you must first shift the observer, not by adding more layers, not by hacking the code, but by seeing through it, by realizing you are not the identity. You are the awareness behind it. And when that realization happens, even for a moment, something cracks. The loop begins to break. You stop being the person who struggles. You stop being the one who is abandoned. You stop being the victim of circumstance. You become the observer. And the observer is free. In the next section, we'll explore exactly how to loosen the grip of identity and how to step into the field of pure potential. But first, a question. If you stop believing everything you think about yourself, what might become possible? There is a moment in every shift where the mind panics, not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are approaching the edge of the old self. You begin to loosen the story. I am this kind of person. I always do this. This is how life works for me. And suddenly, the mind rebels. Wait, if I am not that, then who am I? This moment, the edge, is where most people turn back, because the unknown terrifies the identity. Even if the known is suffering, the mind would rather cling to pain than face uncertainty. Why? Because the identity is not designed to help you thrive. It is designed to help you survive. Your brain is wired for safety, not freedom. It creates a self-concept, even if that self-concept is small, broken, or limiting, because predictability equals survival. This is why so many people stay trapped in identities that no longer serve them. The abused woman who still calls herself unlovable. The failed entrepreneur who clings to, I'm just unlucky. The man who repeats, I'm not good with people. It's not true. It's just safe. And the nervous system prefers safe lies to dangerous truths. But here's where the quantum shift begins. The unknown is not dangerous. In the quantum field, the unknown is pure potential. Every version of you that could ever exist already exists as probability waves, and those waves collapse, not through effort, but through observation. When you step into the unknown, when you loosen the old identity, you change the observation, and the field responds. New opportunities appear, new emotions arise, new synchronicities align, because the field is not bound by your past. Only your observation binds it. Think of it this way. Imagine you're watching a movie. You've seen it 100 times. You know every scene, every line, every outcome. That's your old identity. Now imagine you turn off the movie. The screen goes blank. Infinite possibilities are now available. Any movie could play. Any story could unfold. But if you're still clinging to the old movie, still narrating the old story, guess what will play again? The same film. Your life is the same. The quantum field is the projector. Your identity is the script. Change the script, change the projection. But this change doesn't come from forcing. It comes from letting go. And here's the paradox most people miss. Letting go is not an action. It's an allowance. You don't try to let go. Trying is more of the old self. You simply stop feeding the identity. You stop telling the story. You stop believing the thought. You stop reacting to the old triggers. And in that stillness, a new field opens. And that's when the quantum shift happens. Not gradually, not someday, but instantly. Because in the quantum, time is irrelevant. The version of you that is free, that is abundant, that is whole, already exists. You don't create it. You tune to it. And tuning happens the moment the old self dissolves. Of course, the mind will resist. It will say, but what if nothing changes? But who will I be? But what if I lose everything? These are echoes of the old script. Ignore them. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, and awareness is unlimited. In the next section, we'll explore exactly how to stabilize this awareness so that your new reality becomes permanent. But first, a little question for you. If you didn't have to be you anymore, what would you dare to become? You've heard the phrase, energy flows where attention goes. But here is a deeper truth. Reality forms where identity rests. Because in the quantum field, attention alone is not enough. You can visualize abundance. You can repeat affirmations. You can dream of freedom. But if, underneath it all, your identity remains stuck in the old self, you will keep collapsing the same reality. Let's break this down. Every human being has 2 layers of mind. The conscious mind, the one that says, I want to change. The subconscious identity, the one that says, this is who I am. And in the quantum field, the subconscious wins. Every time. Why? Because the subconscious holds the dominant frequency. And the field doesn't respond to words. It responds to frequency. Here's an example. You say, I want financial freedom, but your subconscious still runs the identity. I am someone who always struggles. I never have enough. Money is hard. And so, no matter how many times you visualize wealth, the field mirrors your core frequency, scarcity. Or you say, I am ready for love, but your subconscious still holds, I'm unworthy. People leave. Relationships hurt. And so, even when love appears, you sabotage it, because the identity pulls reality back to the old baseline. This is not a failure of manifestation. It is a failure of identity alignment. And here's where most people give up. They think, this stuff doesn't work. But it does work. It always works. It cannot not work, because the field always responds perfectly to the signal you broadcast. The problem is not the field. It is the signal. And the signal is who you believe you are. So, how do you change it? Not by forcing, not by pretending, not by stacking more affirmations on top of old wounds, but by becoming the observer of the identity. When you become the observer, you create space. When there is space, the old identity begins to dissolve. When the identity dissolves, the frequency changes. When the frequency changes, The field responds. This is why meditation is so powerful, not because it relaxes you, but because it shifts your relationship to identity. When you sit in stillness and watch thoughts arise and watch old stories surface and choose not to engage, you are teaching your nervous system, I am not the story. I am not the thought. I am the awareness. And this awareness is infinite. In this state, the observer becomes pure, and from that purity, the quantum field reorganizes. New patterns emerge. New opportunities arise. Synchronicities accelerate. Not because you forced the field, but because you finally aligned with a new frequency. And the beauty is this: you don't have to work to shift reality. Reality wants to shift. The only thing holding it static is you, or more precisely, the old you. When that grip loosens, the shift is instant. But beware, the ego will fight back. It will say, this can't be this simple. You need more techniques. You're not ready. Smile at the ego. It's doing its job. But you are no longer the ego. You are the observer, and the observer holds all the power. In the next section, we'll dive deeper, how to permanently anchor a new identity so the shift becomes irreversible. But first, a question for you. If reality always reflects who you are being, who have you been unconsciously asking it to mirror? And quick reminder, if this is sparking something in you, if a part of you is ready to let go of the old story, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. I read everyone, because what comes next will take you even further, because when you stop trying to change reality and start changing identity, reality changes itself. Let's get one thing clear. You are not stuck because of your circumstances. You are stuck because of your attachment to the old identity. It sounds harsh, but it's freeing, because circumstances can change in an instant. But if the identity doesn't shift, even new circumstances will look the same. Picture this: a person wins the lottery, but still holds an identity of not good with money. Within months, the money is gone. Why? Because the subconscious identity is more powerful than the external shift. Or someone gets into a new relationship, but still carries the identity of unworthy. They attract drama, sabotage connection, and recreate loneliness. Or a person moves to a new city to start over, but brings the old self with them. Soon, the new life feels just like the old one. The point is this: if the observer doesn't shift, the reality cannot stabilize. The field is not fooled by action alone. It mirrors frequency, and frequency flows from identity. This is why so many people repeat the same cycles. Different job, same stress. Different partner, same patterns. Different place, same emptiness. Because wherever you go, your identity goes with you, until you release it. And here's what most never tell you. Releasing the old identity is not doing, it is undoing. It is not about effort, it is about surrender. Because the old identity is a tension, a grip, a contraction, and contraction collapses possibility. Release expands it. Think of the body. When you're tense, breath is shallow. When you relax, breath deepens. Energy works the same way. Tension in the identity blocks flow. Relaxation of identity opens the field. How do you relax identity? Step 1, awareness. You must first see the patterns. Step 2, non-reaction. You stop feeding the patterns. Step 3, presence. You live from the observer, not the character. And from there, the old identity unravels, sometimes slowly, sometimes in a flash, but always, inevitably. And here's the beautiful paradox. When the old identity dissolves, life gets easier. You don't have to make things happen. Reality begins to align seemingly on its own. Because the new frequency is clean, uncluttered by the old story, free to collapse new probabilities into form. People will say to you, "You seem lighter. You've changed. What happened?" And you will know, it wasn't something you did. It was something you released. And in that space, reality shifted. In the next section, we'll explore how to navigate the in-between, the void between the old self dissolving and the new self stabilizing. because that's where many people get lost. But first, a question for you. What identity have you been gripping that is now ready to be released? There is a strange space between identities, a moment many people fear, the void. It is the space after the old self dissolves, but before the new self fully stabilizes, and in this space, nothing feels solid. Old habits fall away. Old beliefs no longer hold weight. Old relationships shift. But the new has not yet landed. You are in between. And here's the truth. This space is necessary, because if the new reality arrived while you were still clinging to the old identity, it would collapse. The field needs coherence, and coherence requires time, not linear time, but energetic time, for the nervous system to recalibrate, for the subconscious to align, for the quantum signal to stabilize. Think of a radio dial. You've been tuned to one station your entire life. Now, you're turning the dial. Static arises. The old station fades. The new station isn't quite clear yet. Most people panic. Why does everything feel empty? Why am I so uncertain? Why do I feel lost? And they rush back to the old station because at least there, the noise was familiar. But if you can stay, if you can allow the static, if you can hold presence through the void, the dial will lock onto a new frequency. And when it does, life sounds different, feels different, becomes different. This is the critical phase of any identity shift, holding the space between. The ancient mystics called this the death of the small self. Modern psychology calls it ego dissolution. In the quantum world, it is the observer recalibrating. And the longer you can stay present in the unknown without rushing to fill it with old patterns, the more profound the shift will be. But beware, the void will test you. You may feel restless, anxious, uncertain, disoriented, doubtful. Why? Because the ego hates the unknown. It thrives on definition, on identity, on I am this. When that dissolves, the ego scrambles. It will throw thoughts at you. This is wrong. You're losing yourself. Go back. Do not listen. These are echoes of the old program. They are not truth. In fact, here is the paradox. If you feel lost, good. If you feel empty, good. If you feel uncertain, good. It means the old identity is dissolving. It means space is opening. And in that space, new frequencies can rise. This is where true quantum manifestation begins. Because in the void, you are no longer bound by the past. Your observation is no longer filtered through old identity. You are free to tune to any version of self, any version of life. And the field responds to that freedom. Here is the key. Do not rush the void. Do not fear it. Do not try to skip it. Embrace it. Sit in the uncertainty. Breathe through the emptiness. Hold presence in the unknown, because on the other side is the new self and the new reality. In the next section, we'll explore how to consciously choose the new identity without falling into old ego traps. But first, a little lightness. The void, where old identities go to die, and new Netflix recommendations mysteriously appear. And tell me in the comments, have you ever felt this void? That strange space where you are no longer who you were, but not yet who you will be. I'd love to hear your experience. And if you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe. We're only getting started.